Good evening and welcome to Law Talk, the show that brings the law, the Constitution, and interpretation of today's events into your living room each month. Tonight, James Barrett, myself, and Mark Malachowski are here to discuss the new three top subjects that are just hitting the news. Mark, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Well, first of all, Jim, we want to talk about WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks. We're talking about Julian Assange, aren't we?
Julian Assange. Now, some people consider this guy a hero because they don't think that the CIA and the U.S. government should have any secrets. They don't think we should be spying on people. That is, the U.S. government should be spying on people. They don't think there should be, covert assassinations. They don't think there should be any what they call wet work. This all should be open in the public. And so a lot of people consider this Julian Assange a hero because he took a lot of classified, top-secret information and posted it on the web.
Well, before we get to that, why don't we look about who Julian Assange really is? He's a person that grew up in Australia, and he was hacking from the time he was a teenager. So, in fact, his entire background is involved computer hacking, setting up companies that do computer hacking, hacking on a formal basis, and effectively establishing hacking rules throughout the world. So his entire life, he's written books on hacking, and he's written anti-hacking software. There's something about this guy. He's always been searching databases for other people's dirty laundry. And so I understood he got dirty laundry from a Army specialist, Bradley Manning. And that's what started this whole WikiLeaks adventures, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently there was some, quite a few secure communications that were revealed, and he went ahead and posted them. I think he did it kind of in stages because he was going to say, well, I'm going to see if some really need to be posted. But he ended up posting quite a few.
Well, I understand like 11 to 15,000 different secret communications between foreign diplomats, foreign CIA,
U.S. embassy,
the embassy, intercommunications, all things that are not for public discourse.
Right. And so this was, now if you look on the other side, if you're looking at someone who, believes in U.S. security, you would say this is very damaging. This is a very terrible thing to do. Now, that being said, there's no specific charges pending against Julian Assange in the United States at this time.
Yeah, but I understand that the soldier that released all these to Julian Assange, he's effectively in protective custody. He's under arrest in solitary confinement because of what he did. Did he have a motivation behind releasing all that to Julian Assange and WikiLeaks?
I don't know what his motivation was, but he's looking at he's in serious trouble.
He's looking at life in prison,
right?
Because of actually he could be probably tried as a spy in some manner, and maybe pay the ultimate penalty if they actually put this all onto him at the full force of the law. But let's go back to Julian Assange. What's he doing today?
Well, now he's kind of taking a little vacation. He's hanging out in the Ecuadorian embassy in London.
Okay. And why would he be at the Ecuadorian embassy in London?
Well, they let him stay there, for one thing. And most people wouldn't let him stay because he was having a little trouble with the government, the British government. The British government wanted to extradite him to
Sweden.
To Sweden.
Yes, but that's not related to the WikiLeaks release of data. I believe that's related to sexual assault charges that Sweden has an extensive book of prosecutorial notes on that they really want to prosecute him for this.
Well, if you listen to President Carrera, I think it's.
Yeah, Carrera that would be Ecuador.
Korea.
Korea of Ecuador.
Korea, Ecuador. He's and Assange himself. He's going no. These sexual wrongdoing charges in Sweden are merely trumped-up charges. That's on the behest of the U.S. government, and it's a way of getting extradited, and then the U.S. gets hands on Assange and takes him back to the U.S. and tries him for the leaks.
Is his argument that Sweden trumped up these charges?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I understand that it's more than one woman. It's a series of women that he's used allegedly date rape drugs and then plied his romantic adventures. But so I don't know how trumped that up.
Well, he's saying is that, and so also, so what's happening is the president of Ecuador is saying, hey, look, this guy's a hero, for the third world, for the, like the Marxist socialist, social justice. And, he's exposing all these dirty tricks and horrible things that the U.S. government does. And, it's free press. Of course, Carrera is not really for free press if it's in Ecuador.
Well, I understand Carrera is actually. I understand Carrera is one of the domino replacements, and the Marxists have done throughout, effectively, northern South America. Started with Venezuela. It's Ecuador. Now they're trying to do it in Peru, and fortunately, Colombia's got a strong democratic regime, so they haven't fallen to that. But even in Brazil, there's that push, and it's all coming out of it. That's where it started in Venezuela. But he's actually one of the young Turks in the Marxist regimes throughout northern South America.
Well, there's an interesting story on Carrera. The police went on strike in Ecuador, right?
Yeah, I did hear that.
And so Carrera actually went out there and kind of beating his chest, going, "Yeah, what are you going to do about it?" or something like that. And so the police kidnapped him and took him to this hospital. And then
wait a minute, kidnapped who?
The president.
Oh, the president!
He took the president to the hospital. And the police, I think, were striking over wages or something. I'm not exactly sure what they were striking over. And ended up, whoever the army or the special troops came in, shot quite a few of the police and rescued the president. Now, this kind of became like a cause celebre, very, very famous thing. And this kind of propelled him to prominence and security as the president. And because they're saying, he had to overcome this coup attempt. And, and actually the United States of America, this was in 2010, and the United States of America supported him and basically put him securely in power at that.
Okay, well then why would he stab the U.S. in the back and then give immunity to Assange in their consulate in London?
Well, I mean, I think there's people who believe in U.S. state security that think that this WikiLeaks thing is a terrible thing. There's a lot of people in the U.S. that think that if we're nice to everyone else in the world, they'll be nice to us, and we shouldn't have a CIA, we shouldn't have any secrets. So, I mean, there's different elements in the U.S. I mean, there's a lot of people in the U.S. A lot of people in the U.S. government believe that if we lay down our arms and we nice to everybody, everyone will be nice to us.
Well, I don't know about putting daisies in rifles in Ecuador is going to help us, or putting daisies in the Russian Kalashnikovs that Mr. Putin will be nice to us. But I'm more concerned about
putting daisies in Carrera's rifle didn't seem to help much, but that's what we did.
Okay, but anyway, so let's go back. So now Ecuador's given him some kind of immunity in their consulate. But I also understand there's a big push in the United Kingdom to actually raid the Ecuadorian consulate and take him out because of the seriousness of his offenses. I guess allegedly in Sweden, and then extradite him to Sweden so the Swedish people can prosecute him.
I think that would be a kind of a diplomatic
faux pas.
Faux pas, yeah, that might be a little heavy-handed. Now, there's another thing. I was looking in the Article 29 of the Vienna Convention, where if he was granted a diplomatic Ecuadorian passport, he might have immunity from the Brits. So.
Well, okay, now that raises a whole nother spectrum here. That's saying that anytime somebody's under any kind of criminal indictment or they're trying to escape some government somewhere, that they can run into any consulate, get issued a diplomatic passport and say, "Oh, ha, 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 free, I don't go to jail, I go home." I think that would set a pretty bad precedent regardless of the Vienna Treaty.
But I mean, that is one loophole he might be able to.
They haven't done that though, have they?
Done that. And also, and the Brits haven't raided the consulate either. So, and on that issue of passports, and people getting different passports. He originally has an Australian passport, and like I said, I don't think he's been granted this Ecuadorian passport yet. But that would be one possible legal maneuver.
Okay, well, why don't we keep a watch on that? Julian Assange, this is an ongoing event, so I think at this time, what we ought to start thinking about, let's put that aside. What's our second topic tonight?